Um, I want to speak about a very generic subject with this one, and the subject is opinions. Just opinions. This is a sort of video where I'm just kind of freely thinking, um, spontaneous, I guess you could say. In a way, it relates to my experience with, let's say, cyber activity or social networking. Um, I've been active on YouTube, on and off for about 5 years now. Facebook, a similar time. Um, and both websites have been, I think it would be fair to say, have been very, very active pretty much every day. Um, Now, I'm at a time in my life when I'm reflecting on a lot of the issues in my life, and I believe social media can have a very positive role. I'm coming up to my 30th birthday, and I'm sort of reflecting on my own communication with other people, my own dialogue with others, so to speak. Now, when I look back at the last 5 years of my interaction online, I've mixed feelings. On one hand, I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to voice my opinions, whether it be through videos or commenting on posts, forums. I've been extremely active in that regard. Am I opinionated? Well, the thing is that word has a pejorative. It sort of sounds negative because I think it has a connotation of arrogance. But if I'm describing myself, I would probably have to say I am opinionated. But I also believe I try my best to be objective. Um, I'm pretty confident in my viewpoints. Um, there are times when I formulate an opinion on something, and at a later time I may reflect on that and change my view. I think any honest person would say that most people do change views on some things throughout their life. I don't think anyone can honestly say they have the same opinion on every subject throughout life. They may have conviction on certain subjects throughout their life, but I think everyone changes their views on some things. Now, if I have one regret, it will be that I have given way too much time to people who did not deserve it. What I mean by that is I've allowed myself to get into a dialogue with people who really just want to go down to the gutter. And I regret, I wouldn't say stooping to their level because I think my values are far better than theirs, but stooping to the level of using the sort of rhetoric that they were using. I'm going to try very hard to avoid that in the future. The reason I've done it is because I always believed that bullies need to be stood up to. And the sort of people I'm talking about are not simply people who have a different opinion from myself, although that is the case, but I'm talking about how they formulate those views. Hand on heart, I can honestly say I've never been vitriolic with someone who was just issuing an opinion in a reasonable way. Even if I strongly disagree with them, I've never been vitriolic. I've only ever given as good as I got when someone has attacked me. I'm not going to say I've never confronted someone first. I'm not going to say that because I have seen views I find contentious and I have challenged people on their position. But I've always done that in an objective way. Um, I always think that if I ever become a public figure, this video may come played back. Call me crazy, but if I ever become a public figure, some of the opinions that I've come out with over the years might be brought up by a journalist or something like that. And this might sound strange to listen to, but I am an ambitious man. There's many things I want to do in this world. So if I ever am a public figure, I strongly suspect that a lot of my cyber activity will be brought up. Well, it was all based on conviction, so I'm not going to hide from it. Sometimes I could have worded things a lot better. And I'm just saying this because I'm coming up to my 30th birthday. It's a sort of marking point in my life, and yeah, that's a regret. That sometimes I allowed myself to get to the gutter with some of these people, and sometimes I definitely could have worded things in a better way. Definitely, I allowed my emotions to get the better of me on more than one occasion. Because throughout my life, I've always hated what I perceive to be injustice. I suppose a lot of people do. Um, I'm certainly not alone in this regard. I mean, I don't necessarily communicate any differently from thousands, if not millions, of other people out there. But I am quite reflective on how I have dialogue with others. It is a very important subject for me. Could be because of a teaching background, but I think that from now on, I'm going to be more diplomatic. I'm not going to be politically correct. I'm not going to shy away from my conviction. And then I probably will continue engaging in sharing my opinions and getting involved in not just debate, but also agreeing with people. It's not all negative. I mean, there's a lot of, I've looked at my channel history, for example, and the number of thumbs up I have exceeds the number of thumbs down. I'm not saying that out of vanity, I'm just saying it as a reflection of the experience I've had. I won't deny I've had more run-ins with people than I would have liked. However, that is matched with a lot of common ground as well. That's refreshing. It's nice to see there's a lot of people in the world who, it's always nice to have empathy with people or to have an empathetic opinion, for want of a better description. Um, what I'm going to do from now on, I'm not going to sort of isolate myself from online activity. That is not going to happen. I know some people do take that decision, and I respect them, but it's not something I want to do because I believe this can be very beneficial. But I'm going to be a little bit more. I'm going to try not to let my emotions dictate my words so much because I know I've done that at times, and if I've got some regrets, perhaps that is one of them. I do think that at times I allowed my emotions to maybe override the more diplomatic way of saying things. Um, I mean, I've never been politically correct. I've never sought to censor myself so as not to offend people. But most of the time, I have tried to do it in a responsible way. There's been a few occasions where I have, let's say, used the language my adversary has used, and I do regret that. I do regret reducing myself to their level. So I'm going to try to avoid that. I'm not going to say I'm always going to speak politely and I'm always going to be super diplomatic. There are times that I think sharp language is necessary. But I'm going to be a little bit more diplomatic. Yeah. So really, I'm just reflecting on these things. I am opinionated, but I also genuinely try to be objective. Although I've got strong views on a lot of subjects, um, I am willing to listen to people who have a different opinion, and there's been many occasions where I've engaged in very civil debate and differences of view because I've tried to give the respect to my adversary that they have shown to me. That's been the case many times. Obviously, that's much preferable to getting into the gutter, which is something I'm going to try and avoid. I really am. Um, Obviously, if someone's harassing me or something like that, that's a different matter. But I'm going to just try and avoid that from now on. I'm going to try and rise above those sort of people because it's just not necessary. I mean, the thing about getting into that sort of dialogue, you're not going to convince the other person. It's pointless and it's childish. So I'm not going to say I'm never going to get into a heated debate, but I'm going to try and get into a heated debate in an adult way. Um, that's it really. My subscribers, I'd like to once again take this opportunity to thank you for spending so much time watching my videos. I know I'm not the most interesting YouTuber out there, but I do appreciate all the feedback. Even if you've disagreed with me, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Um, and for your support of words as well. I genuinely appreciate that. I'm going to clean up a bit. in the coming weeks, simply because I know I've been very repetitive and I've repeated videos whereby I've touched on things that I've touched on before. That's simply because I feel strongly about the subject. I do want to tidy it up a little bit because I've got over 900 videos now, which is, I think, much more than average. Um, what more can I say, really? I want to be somebody who just speaks my mind no matter what, and who doesn't kind of say what people want to hear or what is a popular thing to say. I'm not saying I'm going to be a rebel, but I'm not going to be politically correct, and I'm not going to be someone who just says things that people want to hear. I'm not going to just seek popularity. Obviously, if people agree with me and if I can say things that help people to reflect or that people can empathize with, that's wonderful. That's great. But basically, I use this as a forum to express my views. Um, Sometimes to cover issues that I don't think are covered enough. Um, in the case of Facebook and Yahoo News, that sort of thing, I just want to basically weigh into something. I want to have my democratic right, my freedom of expression to outline my views on a particular subject. And that's it. Um, I do try to be objective, but the thing is, nobody, it doesn't matter how open-minded you are, nobody can know everything. You just can't. That's why in a lot of my videos, I'm up front and I say, look, I'm not an expert on this subject. Because I think if you go in and present yourself as being omnipotent and kind of knowing everything about a given subject, inevitably you're going to be open to scrutiny. Now, what I do is I say, this is from my perspective, this is my opinion. Um, and I could well be wrong on subjects. I am, I would like to think I'm humble enough to retract when I do consider that I'm wrong. And I know I've done that on a few occasions. I have kind of went back to people I've been in a debate with, and maybe it got a little bit heated, and I've apologized. That's happened once or twice, but only to people who deserve that. People who, like I say, went to the gutter. But definitely, well, that's a different story. Anyway, I'll leave it there. So from now on, I'm just going to be. I'm not necessarily talking about my videos, but more commenting. Also, in regards to commenting, just general commenting on my videos, I'll try to respond to people, but if I don't respond to your post, please don't take that personally, simply because it's quite time consuming and just not practically possible. It's not that I don't appreciate you taking the time to comment, but please understand that what I want to say, I will say in the video itself. Um, and in most videos, I'll keep the comment section open. So once again, thank you very much, and yeah, cheers.